singing even though I can't sing.
2021, we did it.
We did it.
We're here. We did it. It feels good.
Yeah, it does.
It feels good to be here. The great thing about 2021 is it's all make-believe. All the same stuff from just a couple days ago is still here.
Yeah, but there's a hope of a new year, so... Yeah, let's be optimistic.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Welcome, everybody, to the Laugh and Be Blessed podcast. I'm your host, Jake Rubel. And with me, luckily, because it's been a good bit, is my beautiful wife, Chia.
Hello.
Why were you mouthing Chia as I said
know.
Chia? Did you think I forgot your name?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
You don't have to tell me everything I have to do.
Chia.
Yeah, I get it. Well, guys, I know it's been a while, but you know what? A lot has happened. I think October was the last time we recorded an episode, so it's been a couple months. But every time that we started to sit down and record an episode, something happened. One of us got COVID, or one of us had to go to work, or one of us had to go on the road. Something kept coming up. But we decided, we don't really do New Year's resolutions.
No.
Not really. The only New Year's resolutions we ever do is a reading goal every year. That's it. We'll get into that later. We never really do New Year's resolutions or anything like that. But this year, we talked about it. We're like, you know what? Every Sunday, no matter what, let's just make sure that we do one. If I'm on the road, then we'll Skype. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll make sure that every Sunday, no matter what, we're doing an episode. Or I'll just do it alone. It's fine. Usually, whenever Chia's not around, it's, I almost got perverted. I almost said I do it alone. But I'll edit that out. Maybe.
No. That'll stay.
I don't like editing.
It wouldn't have been perverted unless you said that.
Well,
you took it that way.
Well, I'll take it anyway, is what I'm saying. That's Oh, it's so good to laugh. We're so blessed.
We are blessed.
It's been a crazy time for us. It's been, Chia got a vaccine since we last talked. How do you feel about that?
Oh, good.
You feel great?
I feel so good.
No issues whatsoever?
No.
No, you didn't have any of that. It's funny because I see all, the news reports are saying, this person had an issue with it. And it's like, well, they just had an allergic reaction. That happens to a lot of people.
Or an adverse reaction, I mean.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, it's not.
What's the difference between... You get this smug look on your face. You do. Whenever it comes to anything like this, you get this smug look on your face like, oh, honey. Let me tell you. So what's the difference between...
So, typically with an allergic reaction, you're going to have itching, hives, possible swelling of the throat. That's the things we look at. An adverse reaction is, and these are expected adverse reactions, with this vaccine, you might get aching, a fever, just general not feeling well. The same symptoms you would have with the flu or possibly some of the symptoms you get with COVID. Here's the difference between it. Just because you have symptoms doesn't mean you have it. I know a lot of people, when they get the flu vaccine, they'll say, oh, it gave me the flu because they got a fever and they got the aching and everything. They didn't get the flu. Because if you have the flu, that means you're contagious and you can give it to someone else. You just got some adverse reactions, but it wasn't an allergic reaction. I have a lot of people who'll come in and say they have had a allergic reaction to a medication. I'm like, okay, so what happened? Oh, when I take it, it just makes me real jittery. That's not an allergic reaction. It's an adverse reaction. It means, don't take that medication if it's always bothering you. But it's not. An allergic reaction can be really serious.
You know what's funny?
So that's the difference.
I can tell that it really irritates you when people use those two interchangeable.
It does.
Because
really does.
you get this look on your face the same way I do when people say venomous and poisonous as the same thing. I'm like, they're not the same thing.
No.
They're like, that's a poisonous snake
does.
right there. And I'm like,
when
it's not,
though.
though.
When people say allergic reaction, I'm like, oh, gosh, let's be careful. Because if you have an allergic reaction to something and you keep exposing yourself to that thing, it can get worse and worse, and
Right.
we don't want to cause you to get anaphylactic shock eventually.
You just like throwing out big words.
You know what that is.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's an allergic reaction where your throat swells up,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
See, I didn't even have to go to nursing school for this stuff,
know.
and I just got it.
It's crazy.
It's so here's the thing, everybody. Chia got the first shot.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna get the second shot in a couple weeks. I've not gotten any shots because I don't have to.
No.
I'm not a frontline worker. They're doing it for the frontline workers, people, and I like that because then Chia's my guinea pig. If Chia starts foaming at the mouth or talking in her sleep more than she does now, then I'll know something's going on. Chia talks in her sleep. Just so everybody knows, Chia, and Roman does too now.
I don't do it too often.
Not like you used to,
No.
because you're so tired now,
Yeah.
like you just pass out. But Roman started talking in his sleep. Jasmine was telling me.
Oh, yeah.
She's just like, I don't like whenever Roman stays in my bedroom. It's freaking me out. He's just talking to sleep, and he sleeps with his eyes open a little. He's creepy. I don't know. We've been having a lot of fun, though. Like, let's just recap 2020. Should we?
Yeah.
Should we
recap
just
it.
do like a recap of 2020? Because
Roll it
it was
out.
a horribly blessed year.
Yes.
And I know that doesn't make any sense, but here's the thing. My comedy career started pretty much in 2020. And I say career very loosely. It's hard to say that this is a job, but it's true. In October of 2019, I quit my job and went full-time into comedy. And I couldn't make money, so I drove Uber. But the comedy was 100% just my focus. That's what I was going to do. And then 2020, things were looking really good. And then, boom, everything was shut down. I could have completely just stopped doing comedy, decided that I didn't want to do this stuff anymore. There is a lot of things I just remembered I didn't call somebody back. That's why I looked at my phone. It was Evan.
Oh.
Crap. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. This happens a lot. Oh, I could have just given up. Just been like, okay, well, I just won't do this. And I almost did. Because whenever everything happened, I was at home for like 3 months. And whenever I say at home, like, I didn't leave.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Me and the kids just stayed home.
There was a time period for 3 weeks straight. Like, when you say you didn't leave, you literally didn't even go off the property.
Right.
Like, not even a quick run to the grocery store, the feed store, anything. Like, I did all of that.
Yep. And in that time, speaking of feed store, I started a farm. I got our chicken coop built, our rabbit hutches, ready to go. We ended up starting with just a couple of chickens, and I did a big garden. But now, by the end of the year, now we have we have 24 chickens now. We had 26, but we lost 2 today, unfortunately. But that's part of it.
Yep.
So we have 24 chickens and 4 rabbits, and and our garden is prepped. It's going to look great next year. I'm very excited about it. We just started a farm. So that's a huge plus in 2020. We started a farm, and we kind of started working out a deal with a friend of ours that now we also get pork from his pigs. So I have to go pick up half of a pig tomorrow from the butcher. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And that now we're talking to somebody about maybe beef.
Yeah.
And so that's great things that happened in 2020. That's those are huge big goals that we had. Huge big goals. Those are just
Huge big goal.
Huge big goals, not little at all. And we met them, and that's great. But then things kind of slowly started opening back up, and then I had a decision, like, am I going to continue to try to pursue comedy, or am I just going to stay home? Well, staying home would probably suck. So I kept at it, and I had a great time doing comedy last year. Some big things happened. I'm very excited about this year. I think some big things are going to happen this year. I've already got some stuff lined up. I'm excited about that. And we'll kind of get into that. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But and then with Chia, she you had a year, like you started a new job.
So I started as a nurse in October of 2019, and that's when, me and Jake had the discussion that since I was going to be making more money, he could go ahead and pursue his dreams. He let me pursue mine now. He's pursuing his. And I started off as a rehab nurse, rehab as in like physical therapy, occupational therapy, and I absolutely love it. It's a very rewarding job. Then COVID hit, and they shut my unit down for a while, so I had to go work on the med-surg unit, and that was a little scary. But the people on that unit took very good care of me. Then my unit opened back up, and I thought, oh, we'll go back to rehab. Well, it was half rehab, half med-surg. And then not too long ago, a couple months ago, it became a full med-surg unit. If you don't know what a med-surg unit is, it is medical surgical. So we just get a hodgepodge of everything. We're not a specialty unit like a heart unit or a neuro unit or something. We get all kinds of things. And it was very scary going from being a rehab nurse to a complete med-surg nurse. I think I'm doing okay. I'm told I am.
I think you're doing great. I hear really, really good things. You get awards all the time. You're always getting praised at work. I think you're doing a fantastic job.
I hope so.
But then you also decided that you were going to work at a nursing home.
Yeah.
You did that for a minute, too.
Yeah, a minute.
Yeah, it was not for you.
That wasn't for me. But God bless everyone who does. I'm so thankful for you. That is working in nursing homes is a hard, hard job.
Yeah, it was just, she just didn't want to do it. And, a lot of stuff happened, but let's kind of like go fast forward to the last time that we really recorded. I think the last time we recorded was right after the Dusty Slay show at Gutty's Comedy Club.
Yeah.
That was a great show. Since then, Gutty's Comedy Club has actually moved locations. Mm-hmm. That's something I'd like to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Then talk about it.
I'm gonna.
Do it.
Is that cool?
Go for it.
Well, you're my co-host.
I encourage you.
Would you like to host the co with me?
Can I micromanage the host of the co-host?
You can co-micromanage. So we to get to the Gutties moving a new location. Last year, 2020, we decided we were not doing Christmas. Mm-hmm. We were not going to do traditional Christmas. We were not going to spend. We just have my mom, my dad, my uncle, Chia's mom. Like, there's so many different places that we have to go. It gets really, really hectic. It gets super stressful. And then there's always people we don't want to see. Mm-hmm. And whenever I say we don't want to see them, if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts, our life is all about being as stress-free as possible and just creating an atmosphere of peace. And there's just certain people that rob us of our peace. Mm-hmm. And we just decided, you know what? We've worked very, very hard to get to this place where we are now, where we're very peaceful and we're, I wouldn't say stress-free, but we definitely manage stress way better.
Yeah.
And we literally cut out everything we possibly can that doesn't give us peace.
All toxic things, including people.
Yep. So we were not going to be around those people this year. We made the decision that that's not what we're going to do, and it was going to hurt people's feelings, but it was
COVID,
us.
We wanted to try to not.
Yeah, be around as many people as possible. Yeah. Sure, that's why you wanted to. That had nothing to do with my decisions whatsoever. So we were like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. And plus, what you just said makes no sense because we were going to go to Disney World for...
Yeah, but we weren't going to the parks. We had already decided that.
That's true. So we got a campsite at Disney World in Orlando, and we were going to take our camper down. We were going to stay in the campsite. I decided personally that we weren't going to go into the parks because I was worried about COVID. It's just not a
your decision alone.
It was. You wanted to go into the parks. You were all for it.
Yeah.
You was.
No, I wasn't.
You were for going into the parks. You wanted to go into the parks.
I wanted to, but I knew it wasn't a wise decision. Don't you act
but if
like
if I would have said let's go into Hollywood Studios, you would have been like, yeah, you're right, let's do it.
No, I would not have.
Yeah, you do whatever I want. You are my puppet.
They all know well enough.
You just dance.
That's right.
You puppet.
If that's what you want to think, baby, go ahead. You live in your fantasy world, honey. You do it.
So together as a couple, we made the decision to not go into the parks. And is that better?
Yes.
So.
Meaning he listened to me.
2 days before we're about to leave, 2 days before we're about to
Oh,
leave
hold
for
on.
Orlando.
Can I just say the whole plan that we were going to do?
Oh yeah, you cut me off.
Yeah.
I was gonna do that. So we were gonna what we were gonna do. No parks. We were going to go to the campsite, set up, and then we were gonna go. We were just gonna eat and lounge around. We were gonna go to Disney Springs to go shopping, and instead of Christmas presents, we were gonna give the kids like $200 a piece, which is great. I mean, if I was a kid, that'd be dope. We had a couple of our friends that were going down too. We were super stoked to hang out with them. Things were going to be great. Was there anything I missed?
Yes, there was.
What?
That's right. So I had 12 nights off of work planned all together.
Oh,
for
I
this.
see what you mean.
I had been working really hard for this. So the beginning is I was going to come home, and my first or second night off, I was.
Well, I
gonna
hadn't gotten to that point yet.
Hold on. I was going to take myself out and have a date by myself. I was going to go out to lunch by myself. I was going to go get a spray tan and just do some things like self-care things that I haven't done in a long time. And then spend a few days packing, and then we were going to go on our trip. And now you can finish.
Well,
Because there was something happened that before we left.
Right. But I was just trying to remember if I got the phone call before the vet thing or after.
I think.
It was before.
I think it was before.
No, it was after.
It was after.
So the first day that Chi is off work. So we've had this dog Wishbone. We've had him for what, 5 years?
We've had him for 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so we've had him for 3 or 4 years. My mom had him for at least a year before that. My mom got a dog from the pound for my little brother. Turns out my mom was allergic to this dog, so she had to get rid of him. So she gave the dog to my niece. Well, my niece was in a situation where she couldn't really take care of him because of the place where they were living. I think it was in the city, and there was just no real room for him or anything. Mm-hmm. So then they gave him back to my mom, and my mom didn't know what to do. So she was going to give him back to the pound because she just didn't know what else to do. So me and Chia, we were like, well, we'll just take him. He's an old dog. He was
Jack Russell Terrier.
He was a Jack Russell Terrier. He was very old. He was going blind. His teeth were rotting out of his head.
He's
he
like
had
10 when
he had problems. So we were like, well, we'll just take him. And we thought for sure we'd have that dog for maybe a year, and then he would die. And then he would die. So fast forward 4 years later, we're all very attached to this dog. And he runs the house. He's
living his best life.
He does whatever he wants. We live on around 11 acres. He runs free out here. Every now and then he'll leave the property, and people will think that he's like a stray or something and pick him up, and then that's a whole headache and annoying. And it's just like, look, he's okay. He's our dog. He's just running around. It's fine.
And I understand. Other dogs. We don't let them do this. He's an old man.
He's an old man. We wanted him to. And I know a lot of people were like, well, he could have got hit by a car. He could have done this. Well, he didn't.
No.
I mean, I'm sorry. I grew up without my dogs being chained up all the time. And you know, I know it happens sometimes, but it just... Anyways, shut up. What I'm saying is, Wishbone did whatever he wanted. We tried to be as good as possible to this dog because we knew that he was in his golden years. Chia gets off work, and
he's
the
been
day
doing
before
rough for about a month.
He's losing weight is what's going on. He's losing a lot of weight, and he's gone completely blind and almost completely deaf.
So we thought it was his food. We kept switching foods around.
Well, we went from dry food to wet food, and he loved it.
Yeah.
He ate it up. It was good. We're like, okay, well, he'll put on some more weight now. Well, like 2 or 3 days later, he's not eating anything. This is Chia's first day, it's the day before her first day off work.
Yeah.
So she's got to go to work at night. And she's checking him, and she's like, oh, honey, his teeth are, bad, really bad. So she calls, they were so bad,
I had just got off work. This was my first night off, but I hadn't been to bed yet. It was a Friday.
Oh, I thought it was the day before.
No.
It doesn't, we're focusing on the wrong part of the story. Chia's first day on her 12-day stretch, first day on her vacation. She comes home, Wishbone's not eating, he's not drinking anything, and his teeth are literally falling out of his head. To where it's very gross, and we feel very bad for him. So Chia calls the vet. The vet's like, go ahead and bring him in. And we'll check him out. You know, maybe we can just give him some antibiotics for his teeth, get you a meal plan, everything. So Chia takes Wishbone in, The vet looks at him and is like, yeah, it could definitely be his teeth, but let's do some blood work anyways and figure out what's going on with him. Well, it turns out he's in kidney failure and has been for some while. But they won't some time. That's how that saying goes.
Some time, yeah.
They can be in kidney failure for a while with no...
75%.
Yeah.
With no symptoms.
With no symptoms. And then all of a sudden, like, all the symptoms just like, boom, come on. And that's what happened with him. So, long story short, we have to put Wishbone down. Chia's first day on her 12-day vacation. We've got to put this dog down. Chia doesn't even like Wishbone, right?
We were not friends at first.
They were not friends.
And now I'm attached to him.
And same thing with me. Like, Jasmine was the only one in the house that really loved that dog in the beginning. And then we all fell in love with him. He was a grumpy old man. There was nothing not to love. He was hilarious. He would punk
the big dogs.
The Mastiffs and the Great Danes that we have. He would punk them. Like, it was hilarious. They were all scared of him. So we had a schedule. She brings him home. We all love on him one last night, and she's got to take him back the next day and put him down. So we go in together. We put the dog down. Very sad. You know,
awful.
like, we're crying. It was a horrible time. We hate that we had to do that. And then I get a phone call or a text. I don't think it was that same day. I think it was the next day. Mm-hmm. So this is like 2 days before we leave for Orlando. I get a text from Dusty Slay. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to be in Alabama this weekend. Are you free to feature for me? Well, we're going to Orlando. And we were supposed to be in Orlando Tuesday, Wednesday, we're leaving Tuesday.
Tuesday, we were going to get there Wednesday and spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night there and leave sometime Saturday.
And the first show is in Alabama Saturday night. So I tell Chia, I can't miss this opportunity. Like, Dusty's my favorite comedian. He's the funniest guy I've ever met. And not just that, but I really enjoy hanging out with him. So I was like, well, I can't miss this opportunity. So I told him, absolutely, I'll be there. So then our plan was, we're going to go to Orlando. We're going to drive down to Orlando with the camper, with the kids. We're going to unpack. We're going to hang out for just a couple days. We're going to pack back up, leave about 6 o'clock in the morning in Orlando, drive to Huntsville, Alabama. Have Chia drop me off at the hotel. Her and the kids would stay in the hotel with me that night. Then the next day they would drive home
because I've got to get my COVID vaccine.
Because she has to get
Monday.
her vaccine on Monday, so she can't stay the whole weekend. So then I would stay in Alabama. Chia would come home. I would do the shows, 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday, one show Monday, and then Chia would come pick me up Monday night or Tuesday morning. Mm-hmm. I was like...
we were like, we'll make it work.
We can make it work. This is my job. This is what I have to do. We're going to make it work. So, we're very excited. It's going to be a great time. We all pack up. We leave. We get halfway through Kentucky, and Holden starts throwing up like crazy.
And I'm in big denial. I'm like, maybe it's just car sickness. He ate junk yesterday. All he ate was junk for breakfast. Let's stop for a healthy, real meal lunch.
Right. So then we go to Applebee's, and we're like, okay, well, let's get some Applebee's.
Get some protein, get some veggies in us.
We try to pick a place where there wasn't a lot of people, just in case he was sick, mm-hmm. which he didn't have COVID. I mean, we knew he didn't have COVID, but we were just worried, like, maybe he's got... we didn't know what was going on. Anyways, so we chose a place that was close by. There was, like, no one there. We went in. We got the food. We left because Holden he still wasn't feeling good, so it just didn't work yet.
Stomach pain.
So I was like, okay, well, let's just get a hotel. Let's stay the night here. We'll see if he feels better, and then we'll just move on. So now we have to try to quarantine this kid. He's got no COVID symptoms.
No.
He's just got like a stomach bug symptom, but we don't want him getting anyone else sick. So we get a hotel. We go to the hotel room. He's got to stay in the hotel room. He gets sick there a couple more times, and it was like midnight, and I just looked at Chi and was like, I'm calling it. Yeah. We can't go tomorrow. So then we had to turn around the next day and drive back home.
By the way, he didn't throw up again.
He didn't throw up. Yeah, he was completely fine afterwards. So that's parenting.
Yeah.
You know, like
if we would have went though, someone would have got sick. Him or one of the other kids.
100%.
That's just how it would have
But
went.
my biggest thing was, we had 12 more hours to go. Mm-hmm. Even though he didn't throw up, he still didn't feel good the next day all day. And I was like, man, I'm not going to force this kid to stay in the car for 12
Yeah.
hours feeling like this.
And we got a refund from Disney. It was fine.
Disney was great. Disney was so fantastic about it. They gave us
Yeah.
our money right back like it was no big deal. So we came back up. We came back home. Was home for 2 days. And then I had to go to Alabama. So at first it was like, well, I'll just go to Alabama by myself, then I'll come back. But Chia was feeling like, well, this vacation's a complete wash. Like I had 12 days off, and all I've done is killed my dog and watched my kid puke. Like we didn't get to do anything I wanted to do. And so I was like, well, just come with me. I was like, if you want to, just come with me to Alabama. So me, her, and the kids, we pack up on a Sunday.
No camper this time.
No camper this time. Saturday morning, we pack up and we drive 6 hours to Alabama. It was about 6.5 hours to Alabama. And they stayed the night in the hotel. We got there, we ate, we got some lunch, we went to the hotel, hung out, and they stayed there that night, and then they just came back home the next day. But luckily, Dusty said, well, do the shows, and then Monday, if you want, you can come back with me to Nashville, and then Chia can pick you up there and save her a 4-hour drive. So that was great. Mm-hmm. So Chia and the kids stay that night. The next day, they head back home. I do the 2 shows Saturday with Dusty. We do some shows on Sunday, and then Monday is our last show. And it was great. Like, it was so much fun. Just hanging out with Dusty, and then I got to meet his wife, Hannah, and she's wonderful. They're just like such... I love them. I love them. Yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful people. It was like... They definitely make you feel like, oh, yeah, we've just been friends for a long time. And then Evan Burke was there. Evan hosted the shows for us. He's one of Dusty's friends. Has been his friend for a long time. Very funny comedian. I believe he just moved back from L.A., and he just got a place in Nashville. And Evan's, I mean, we really hit it off. I love that guy. He's wonderful. So we do the shows, then we go back to Nashville. Chia comes back to Nashville and picks me up. And then... come home for a day, and then I've got on New Year's Eve I had a show at Gutty's, and it was like a last minute show. They didn't really promote it. It was just kind of like somebody had to cancel, so they just threw the show up real quick, and I got to do some time on it. Now Gutty's closed their older location because just some stuff happened. They had to kind of move out of there, and they were super blessed because this theater in Greenwood worked something out with them, and Gutty's Comedy Club is now in a theater.
Yeah.
It doubled the size that their audience can be. The stage is huge. It's fantastic. I mean, I love it. Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't really sure what to feel whenever I went there, because it was kind of like, well, it just doesn't feel like Gutty's.
Yeah.
But then the moment that I went out on stage, and I'm very confident saying, I mean, I killed.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a great show. And, I mean, I did every night with Dusty, too. Like, it was just a great way to end the year. Just some of the best shows. Definitely the best shows. The best shows I've ever had. Like, that Monday night show with Dusty was the best show I ever had. And then that show with Gutty's was just, like, neck and neck with how good it was. Because the audience that showed up for Gutty's was so into it. Mm-hmm. Like, just a great audience. And I think I did 30 minutes and just, like, nonstop the whole time. Loved it. So go check out Gutty's new location, Gridwood, Indiana. It's fantastic. I'm excited. Super, super excited for that. So that kind of catches up with like what's been going on, I'm hoping that this year I get to do some more shows with Dusty.
Hopefully no more quarantine. We had a little over a week there of complete quarantine. I had to work still, but I wasn't sick. My mom tested positive for COVID. This was like the beginning of December. End of November. She tested positive for COVID, and then Jake had COVID symptoms. He never got tested, but I quarantined my mom upstairs and Jake to the bedroom, and the kids had to fend for themselves in the living room.
Well, I was going to go get tested, and we did the virtual thing with my doctor, and they were like, well, if you've already been in quarantine for this long, you're almost out of it anyways.
Yeah.
They were like, you can go get tested if you want, but they were kind of basically being like, just stay home, you're fine. Like,
yeah. His symptoms weren't that severe. He was just very, very lethargic.
I've never, more tired than I've ever been. It was crazy how tired I was.
But my mom's symptoms were
and super
pretty rough.
achy. Yeah, I was just real tired and just really achy and just not... Luckily, I didn't get it nearly as bad as some people. I had a cousin that was on a ventilator for a couple weeks and stuff, and luckily now he's off and he's in rehab and he's starting to walk again and stuff. That's scary. That's scary stuff, man.
We're still it's still kind of sketchy at the hospital. We had some pretty good days here the last few days, but depending on how much traveling people just did for Christmas.
Right, yeah.
Might
and
go
New
up,
Year's.
and now there's a new strain, so.
Yeah. Ugh. All right, let's quit talking about that.
It's not a laugh thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on. And then as of right now, I have a couple shows coming up. Not a lot, but I do have a couple, which is, hey, I'm super excited about that. You know what? A lot of people aren't able to do anything right now, unfortunately. I feel bad for them, but so on January 15th, I'm actually going to be back at Gutty's. I'm going to host a show for a guy named Clint Hall. Clint Hall is very funny. He's from Louisville. He's a friend of mine. I really like him. I'm very excited to be on this show. So I'm going to be just hosting the show for them on the 15th at their new location. And then on February 16th, I'm going to be at Smokestack Brew House in Mishawaka, Indiana. I'll be there with Andy Beningo, and you've heard me talk about Andy before. Andy's so funny. If you've not seen him, check out his Dry Bar comedy special. And he's just one of the nicest guys. Andy Beningo loves hockey, and he makes me want to like hockey just to talk to him about it, because he's into it. He's a great guy. And then on February 18th, I will be in Evansville, Indiana at Carson's Brewery, doing a show there. So as of right now, that's all I really have coming up soon. So more shows will be posted, and we'll have stuff going on. And if you're curious about what's going on, easiest way to find out is just go to jakerubel.com, or you can just Jake Rubel on Facebook. That's probably the easiest, is Jake Rubel on Facebook. I update that more than anything. So, we kind of are caught up with things. Now we're at 2021.
2021.
What was your biggest regret about last year?
Ooh, biggest regret. I don't know what it would be.
I know what your biggest regret is.
What?
You didn't finish your reading challenge.
I didn't.
I do think that was.
Close.
I do think that's the thing that you were the most upset about. At the end of the year.
Because we kind of roll with the punches. So I think as far as time together as a family, finances, we did really good. Our mental health, I think, kind of waxed and waned a little bit. I worry about the kids more than anything. They've been out of school for quite some time. Supposed to go back tomorrow, and
we're 50-50.
Literally, I have to call the school in the morning. We still have not made a decision. It's really hard to be a parent. Regardless, now it's even harder because you
want what's best for your kid, but you also want what's
safest.
Yeah, what's safest, and they really want to go to school, but their school, the county that their school's in is really bad right now with cases, and I just feel like we're almost there. I don't want to chance it. It's like we're right to the points where the vaccine's coming out, and hopefully, we're going to start seeing a huge drop in numbers, but man, I don't know.
But you see how it affects the kids too. The older two, it's not as predominant, but our youngest, he's very emotional lately, and I know it's just really getting to him, not having his friends and not having that social interaction that he's used to.
Well, and just having that outlet. Like, he's got to keep everything bottled up, because he can't just... He's got that recess time with his friends where he can just go completely wild and crazy. Right. And he can't really do that here, because if he does, then we're like, hey, man, chill out. Or his brother and sister are like, you're being annoying.
They all start fighting and
stuff. And I feel so bad for him. I want... So that's, it's weird. It's like one minute we're like, well, it's smarter if they just don't go. And then the next minute we're like, but they really want to go. So
and we're not like saying, oh, they should go because we're not just wanting to do things that our kids want to do because we give in. Like, we see how it affects them.
Yeah, so. It's like, they need that time. We have some great friends that have actually just recently came and picked the kids up one at a time to stay the night at their house with their kid. to just give them at least some of that, you know, interaction with somebody other than their immediate family. That was a blessing. That was huge.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. It's just such a hard decision to make. I don't know. And as of right now, they're not going. But I feel like if the school gives us even a little bit of a push back, we'll just be like, okay, fine.
Yeah, we'll try it again.
Yeah, but
Which is what we did
last
last
time,
semester.
that's the problem. Is last time I made a phone call whenever things were getting bad. I made a phone call and was just like, look, their mom works in the hospital. Their grandmother lives with us, and she works in a nursing home. They're the highest risk people out there. I'm worried that they're going to come home with COVID, give it to the kids. The kids are going to bring it in and spread it through the school.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not really working right now. I'm home. I can sit with the kids and do schoolwork with them. And they're like, well, we just don't really have the setup for that, so we just don't think it's a great idea. And then the next week...
Sorry, I'm breaking things.
I was like, what are you
Go
doing?
ahead.
And then the next week, Kim tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
So then they all had to stay home. And it's like, you know, I knew
Exactly
this
what
was
we
going to
wanted.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
One thing I started doing that I haven't been into since I started, not just nursing school, since I started school, was I used to love to read just for enjoyment. And every time I would try to read while I was in school, I'd be like, oh, this is exhausting because I have to read anyways for an assignment. So I hadn't really read forever, and we have the Goodreads app, and we always put a goal. So past few years, I've tried to set a goal, hasn't worked out. So this year my goal was 15 books, and I made it to 12. So 2021, my goal is 15.
You were close.
I don't want to blame a book in particular, but I did get stumped. So last time I talked to you guys, I was still reading Dracula and Lord of the Rings. I'm still reading Dracula on my phone, the ebook, and I'm over halfway through, so I feel like I'll finish it pretty soon. The other book, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, I read The Hobbit in 9 days, and I was so excited and ready to read more about Middle Earth. So I picked up Lord of the Rings, and I have heard people multiple times joke about, oh, it's just a bunch of walking. The first half of that book,
it's literally just walking.
all they do is walk. They walk, and they end up staying at some guy's house, and they talk with him and his wife, and it's neat. And then they get up the next day, and they walk, and then they lean up against a tree and take a nap, and then they get up and they walk. And this is literally like the first half of the book, and you're like, I'm gonna pull my hair out. The second half went very fast. I got through the second half in just a couple of days. I worked New Year's Eve, and I thought, oh man, I had like 70 pages left, and I didn't think I was gonna finish it. Turned out to be a very slow night at work. So I had 5 hours before midnight. Every chance I got, I was reading it. You know, if a patient needed a water, I would get them a water, and then I would read it walking down the hall, put my book out in the hallway, go give them the water, see if they need anything else, come out, sanitize my hands, pick up my book, walk back up to the nurse station reading it. And I got done with that book at 11:53 on December 31st.
Congratulations.
So,
That's so awesome.
I was so happy.
It's funny how we're not competitive people except for weird things.
Yes.
Like when it comes to reading,
Yeah.
we are competitive. Like she wants to read more books than me, and I want to read
It's
more
never
books
going
than
to
her.
happen either.
You're
a faster reader than me.
Well, I pulled up. So we started. At least I did. In 2017 is whenever I started wanting to do a yearly reading challenge.
Let me see what mine is.
And I decided that I wanted to read 5 books, and I did. In 2017, I read The Gunslinger by Stephen King, Hondo by Louis L'Amour, American Gods by Neil Gaiman, Mountain Man by Keith C. Blackmore, and Robinson Crusoe. I read those books in 2017.
Where'd you go for that?
You can look up right here. If you go to More down at the corner.
Oh.
And then click on your
Reading.
challenges and then past challenges. So then in 2018, I was like, let's up it. So I did 20 books in 2018. And then I've met that. So then I was like, well, I'll do 30. And I met that. So 2018, I read 32 books.
Wow.
My goal was
It doesn't
30.
have mine on here. Maybe that was the first year I did it.
Maybe, yeah. So I'm not going to say like all of them, but I'm just going to throw some out. These are some of the books that I read in 2018 that I really liked. So I read The Last American Vampire, which was the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter number
Yeah.
2. Great book. Well Fed, which was a Mountain Man series by Keith C. Blackmore. Keith C. Blackmore is a great author that a lot of people don't know about. If you like zombie books and stuff, it's a really, really good one. And then I started reading the Dresden Files in 2018. So I read the first 2 books. I read 1, 2, 3, 4. I read all the Harry Potter books in 2018.
How can you, like, once you start on them, though,
I know.
like...
Yeah, they went so fast. True Grit, I read in 2018. That was a really good one. Meg.
Yeah.
The movie's based off this. Yeah, that was a really fun one. I didn't realize I read these. I read the Thrawn trilogy in 2018.
Oh.
Yeah, Star Wars. Those are the best Star Wars books I've ever read. They were so good. And I read Ender's Game 1 and 2. I read Slaughterhouse 5. I read White
That's
Fang.
one I need to read.
I read The Dead Zone, Salem's Lot, Slaughterhouse. Oh, I said Slaughterhouse 5. Ready Player One, of course.
That's when you first read it?
No.
Oh.
I
that
first
was a
read.
reread.
Yeah, I first read it the year it came out. I think. The Drawing of Three, which was the second Stephen King book, or not Stephen King book, but the Gunslinger series or the Dark Tower series. So those were some of those, and then 2019 I had a reading challenge of 30. Mm-hmm. I read 7. I don't know what happened in 2019.
I was in school.
I did Doug Stanhope's book, This Is Not Fame. I read Joe Hill's Heart-Shaped Box, which was so good. Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's son. That was a great book. I read Steve Martin's book, Born Standing Up. I read Fahrenheit 451. I read Self-Reliance and Other Essays by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I read another Mountain Man book by Keith C. Blackmore. And I read an Alien book.
Nice.
I feel like I read more than that. I just don't think I programmed them.
Oh.
Because I'm positive that I read more than that in 2019.
I don't know. It was a pretty crazy year.
It was. And then last year, just a couple highlights. So I read 23 out of 30. I didn't get my 30.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope. I reread Ready Player One. I read a lot of Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
The Walking Dead books. I read a lot of those. I read Pete Holmes' book, Comedy, Sex, God. I reread Born Standing Up because it was just very, very good. So those, and then I had like 10 other ones that I was also reading. Mm-hmm. So that was just kind of like a highlight. I'm doing it. I'm hitting 30 again this year.
I'm hitting 15.
This is ridiculous.
Sure.
I'm hitting 30. I'm gonna do it.
I'd like to go past that, but past years have proved that I'm not that great at it. So I have reading challenges within my reading challenge, though. I want to finish The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I do too, because I read The Hobbit, but that's it.
You've not even read the first one.
Nope, just The Hobbit.
It's so hard to get through. So for some reason we had the first and the third.
But I'm used to reading Stephen King books.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I'm waiting on the second to come in the mail. As soon as it comes in, I'll start on that. I want to read those. I've talked before about the Wizard of Oz books, how that has always been a goal to finish. I have 3 more books in that series till I'm done. I want to finish those. And I want to read the Harry Potter books to the kids. I started...
the first one,
the first one with the kids, and
they seem to really enjoy it.
So I need to be just more diligent about sitting down.
That's good. I
reading
hate reading to kids.
I don't know. Other people talk about reading to their kids all the time, like it's this great magical time.
They're liars.
Our kids
they're freaking
talk
liars.
Over us, ask questions,
won't sit still.
But then
why do people
get
make
upset if we
parenting
don't
seem so magical and wonderful and amazing?
I don't know.
It's not fun.
They really don't know.
Oh, I'm sure it's rewarding in the end.
Like I know people who talk about reading to their kids all the time. I'm like, I've literally tried to read to our kids since they were babies, and I do read to them. But it's like after a while, I'm like, I've read a paragraph, and you have so many questions about this one paragraph.
It's funny because we start off like with this, especially Chia. Chia's way worse about this than I am. She starts off like, oh, I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to read this book to my babies. And I just want to spend more time with my babies. And I love my babies so much. And I just want to read to them. And I just want to look at their little faces as they just gather the information that I'm just giving them. And it's a bonding experience. We're going to look back on it. And it's going to be beautiful. cool. And then she walks out of the room, and then an hour later she comes in here and her hair's all crazy and she's screaming and she's just like, I hate your children.
I don't say
She's
that.
like, they are
I
the
don't
worst
say
kids.
That. I don't say
I'm gonna
that.
catch them on fire in their
I don't
sleep.
say that.
You're crazy.
I just say the kids are driving me crazy.
You don't just say that.
Yes, I do.
No, you say lots of horrible
I
stuff.
don't. Stop.
I'm just kidding.
You're
But-
so mean. I don't say that.
No, but you do, like, it's hilarious the transition that
It
takes
does wear me
place.
out because I go in with certain expectations, and they're 8, 10, 11 now, and I'm like, all right, we're finally to the point to where maybe like we'll just cuddle and read together, and then that doesn't happen.
I feel like if you have one kid,
Probably, or
if
even
you have
2.
one, yeah, but 3, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should do. Why don't we do this? Why don't we choose
Which kid to love?
which kid to love, and then just let the other 2 figure out their life?
Is that what you were gonna say?
All right, say which one you want to do on the count of 3. Okay, I'm going to count of 3.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Me.
None of them. Oh. That's funny. Oh, that's a good time. Oh man! I was going to
I thought
say
it was an
like
option.
I was going to say maybe like you read to Jasmine one night and I read to the boys and we'll switch back and forth or something.
We probably should.
I feel like
That would probably be better.
co-parent. Yeah, but I don't want to do it.
I'll do it on my own then.
I'm just kidding. You could
do
do that.
everything by myself.
I really want to read Chronicles of Narnia to the kids.
All right. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I read Harry Potter to Jasmine, you read Chronicles of Narnia to the boys, and then when we're done, we'll switch.
Books or kids?
Kids.
And then what do I read to Jasmine? Chronicles of Narnia?
Yeah.
I have to read that book twice?
Or do you want to read Harry Potter to the boys?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll read like Salem's Lot to Jasmine.
Something, yeah.
Salem's Lot is a Stephen King book about vampires. I'm not reading that to her.
I think she'd like it.
Probably. All right. Good night. Good night, princess. One thing that I loved about 2020, probably one of the things that I loved the most about it, other than my comedy, was us getting into gaming, board games.
Yes.
We've always loved playing games, but not like we did last year. I've always wanted to get into like Dungeons and Dragons and like just hardcore board games that like a lot of people just don't even know about or play. And we started with a very limited collection, and now we have a great,
insane.
yeah, we have a great collection. I mean, we just got 2 new games in the mail,
Let's-
and I'm ordering more this week.
Let's go over some of them.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about some of our favorite games that we
Alright.
played in 2020.
So, obviously, you all know we make a
Don't-
lot of goals that...
Don't turn your head
Oh.
when you talk.
We make a lot of goals that we don't follow through with. So
Yeah.
one of our goals this year is to try to podcast every Sunday and play a board game together. And then on Saturdays, I want to game with the kids. So we started off right. This is the first Sunday we're doing our podcast. And we played Vault of Dragons.
A game of fierce conflicts and hidden treasures. So it's a Dungeons and Dragons board game. And okay, yeah. So it takes about 90 minutes to play. You can play
I'd
with
say
2 to 4
yeah.
people. It probably took.
Yeah.
I
maybe
think
a
we
little
could.
less.
Yeah, I think we could get it quicker next time because we were kind of learning. Definitely learning
I
curve.
actually think it'll take us longer next time because we didn't like battle
That's
each other
true.
and stuff.
Yeah. Once we get into
So
it,
we were kind of like
So-
nice and we didn't fight as much for, of course I won. You need to write that down.
I do need to write it down. Yeah, we need a new scorecard.
Yeah.
So it was very fun. I mean, it was definitely a fun game. Learning curve to it. If you're not used to playing hardcore games, there was a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
So that was the game that we just played. The game that the other new game that we got was Wonder Woman: Challenge of the Amazons, and I got that one for Chia.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited to play it as well. It looks really fun. It looks like it's going to be a challenge as well. But it's by Ravensburger is who the company that makes it. Mm-hmm. And they make some of our favorite games. So we really, really enjoy what they put out. So next week, we're going to try to play a game we've never played that we've had on our shelf for a while, Jaws, which
Yes.
is my favorite movie. So that's also Ravensburger. It's supposed to be really, really fun. Probably, what would you say your favorite game?
So my favorite game that we have played definitely this year has been Villainous.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, Villainous is a Disney game. The first... Let's see, the starter pack, how many does it play?
Oh,
Let me get it.
either 4 or 6. I want to say 4.
No, it's 6.
Is it
6.
6?
And then
Okay.
each additional expansion has 4.
3.
3, yes.
Yeah.
So, we have...
We got 2 expansions so far.
Yeah, I think there's 2 left to get.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, you
Yeah.
play as a villain, a Disney villain, so you can be, like Hades. I've played as Hades before. I've played as Prince John before. There's a lot of different Maleficent. Any of the Disney villains pretty much they're coming out with. And there's a new expansion actually where you can play as Marvel villains.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care for the villains of the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What I like about Villainous is, so a lot of these games, especially the one we just played, the Vault of Dragons game, we'll have to watch gameplay because we'll read the instructions and then watch gameplay because it takes a minute to kind of get it.
Get it. Get it. Get it.
Villainous, though, the way you start is you buy
That's going to be one of the next ones I buy, by the way.
the starter pack, and right away it says you're going to play as these 2 people.
Yeah.
And then step by step tells you how to play your first few rounds.
Right.
So I feel like we caught on to that one much faster. We had to watch some gameplay, but
No.
not
We started that game 4 times. Remember?
Did we?
Yeah, that was the one that we would play.
Oh.
We got halfway through and it was like, we're not doing this right, and had to start over. Anyways, so that was your favorite.
Actually, no, because I just looked down and I seen a different one. So that's my second favorite.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is Star Realms.
Star Realms is your favorite.
Yes.
So, Star Realms is my favorite one to play, but Betrayal at House on the Hill
Yeah.
is probably my favorite game we own.
Yeah.
I know that's weird, but so here's the difference.
I like
Here's the difference.
the whole concept of betrayal.
Yeah, here's the difference. Star Realms is so fun. It's compact. It's a card game. It's very small. It's easy to take with us if we travel. It doesn't take up a lot of room on the table or anything, and you could just jump into it and play it in like 30 minutes or less. Very fun game. I love Star Realms. As a matter of fact, whenever we're done with this podcast, let's play a game of Star Realms. Love it. Betrayal at House on the Hill is a lot more intense. I mean, there's a lot going on in that game, and it takes you a while. There's a learning curve there, but it is that if you're wanting a good story whenever you're playing, that's the one to go with. That one's super fun. So yeah, and then we have like Planet of the Apes board game we've not played. It's very intimidating.
Yes.
Very intimidating.
And we watched gameplay on that.
And they told us on the gameplay, they're like, this is one of the hardest board games to play. And I was like, let's leave that one up for a couple years.
And then we have some easier games that we'll play with the kids, like Skippo. Skippo is one of my favorite games to just get out with the kids and play Uno.
Yeah, Phase 10.
We started playing Phase 10 this year, and we...
Yeah, love it. Sequence.
Our go-to game is Sequence.
Yeah, that's our favorite game that we play a lot. We have a lot of favorite games.
Smash Up.
Smash Up
That's
is really fun.
That's a good game to play with your kids.
Yeah. Now, here's something weird that I never really thought I'd ever do. I bought a couple of single-player board games, and I didn't think I'd really get into that, but I don't know. There was just, with Chia working, there was times that I just really want to play a board game, and she wasn't here. So I bought a game called Friday that is really, really fun. It's like, it's like playing solitaire, but like different. It's just really, really fun. So if you're kind of into that, and you can message us if you have any questions about any of these games or where to get them, or if you're thinking about starting to play some games and want to know really where to start, just let me know. Again, Facebook's the best place. So if you go to Facebook, look up Jake Rubel's Blessed Ones on Facebook, and it's a group. Join the group, and you can ask questions there and follow the podcast there. It's a great group. We got some good people in there. People are always posting stuff, posting funny stuff. Commenting. It's where we always drop our merch for the first time, and yeah.
One game we got to get, my friend Kelsey recommended, and I really want to get it, is called One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Isn't that on sale right now? No, that one's not. A different werewolf one is.
Oh, okay.
So that's another thing I do is we get a lot of them on Amazon, but if we can go to a local shop. We love doing that. We actually, whenever we were in Nashville, we stopped in a local shop and bought a couple games. I forgot about that. We have Tiny Epics. That's another new game we have.
Oh, yeah. What was it? I mean, it's not that expensive. One Night Ultimate Werewolf is $23.50 right now on Amazon. It's Prime.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put...
Where do we go?
So, the Game Preserve in Bloomington is where we... But there's another place in Bloomington that I didn't even know about that I'm going to go check out. It's over on the east side off Pete Ellis.
Okay.
But Game Preserve's moving to where they're going to be right outside of College Mall now.
Yeah.
Which is nice because then the two game shops will be pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
So it'll work out good for us. Oh, we started playing Magic the Gathering,
yeah.
which is fun, but we're just not too into, like, the card collecting. And I think that's where it kind of stopped us. I think if we really got into it,
I think there's more to learn.
I played Pokemon for the first time with a couple of my friends and liked it. I don't like the Pokemon characters. They're just really kiddish and stuff like that. But the play of Pokemon was really cool. I was surprised. Because I was just like, I thought I'd hate this. Because I just don't like Pokemon at all. There's nothing about Pokemon that, like, intrigues me. But the gameplay was super fun. I wish there was a game that was... Are our cats fighting? Probably.
Yeah, our cats that we have. We'll tell you about that in a minute.
In a minute, man. We've been going for an hour. Anyways, yeah. So, if you have any questions about games or anything, we love gaming. We started a YouTube channel... that's just it's called Let's Play Games. We didn't really do a whole lot with it. We did a couple of different Villainous is actually on there. If you're curious about Villainous, check out on YouTube Let's Play Games, and we do a thing with that. What other games did we do? We did Villainous. We did Betrayal at House on the Hill, and I feel like we did one other game.
Maybe one other.
I can't remember what it was. It might have been Horrified.
Maybe. Ooh, Horrified's a good game.
Yeah. Anyways, if you're... Check out our YouTube, Let's Play. I think we might try to do more with that this year, too. But, we got a lot of our irons in the fire,
So, speaking of animals, though, so we still have 3 dogs, but we also got 2 cats, and I'm not a cat person, so they were supposed to be outside cats, and now they live in my room.
I'm not a cat person either, but I'm an animal person. It got really cold outside. I was sick of seeing the cats looking upset and sad and freezing, so I brought them in the house. And they're fine. They're not that big of a deal. One of them's a kitten, like real small, like a baby, like a little baby girl. And then the other one hates her. So, yeah, kittens. We got some cats. So, I think that's it. I want to play Star Room, so I think we're going to wrap this up. So, first podcast 2021, we did it. We'll be back next Sunday night. So, these episodes should drop every Monday. I don't know. They used to go down every Wednesday. Well, we're going to try for every Monday this year. And we'll, it's a new season, season 2. Welcome to season 2. Welcome to season 2 of the podcast. So, thank you for everything you guys have been doing. If you are interested, you can check out our Patreon, kind of help us out. That's really loud. You can kind of help us out, buying more games on Patreon. It's just patreon.com/laughandbeblessed, and there's some different tiers there. Check that out. But, social media, that's the best thing, is just check us out on social media. You can find us anywhere at Indiana Ruble, or just go to Facebook. What are you doing? Stop touching stuff. I'm
playing with stuff.
Go to Facebook
Don't tell me
and
what
Jake
to do.
Ribble's Blessed Ones. Thank you very much. I'm going to go before she completely drives me nuts. Thank you, guys. And let 2021 give you lots of laughter, lots of blessings, because life is all about being able to laugh and be blessed.